All right, let's take a look at the website so that you can navigate it easily and find exactly what you're looking for. I'm going to start at the top right hand corner up here, and we're going to dive right into lesson lists. So these lists are going to list out all of our lessons by subject. If you can see here, the science career adventures, we're going to click for guide. So this will take us into our science lesson breakdown. It's broken up by grade level and then down into the different subject areas. So it's really easy to read. If you are kind of doing some broad planning or looking for something specific, this just gives you a overall scope that you can click into to see. And then if you're wanting to go directly to any of these lessons, you can just click in. It takes you right to it. Also on this page, you can find the standards. So our science standards align with NGSS, social studies with C3, ELA, and math are with Common Core. So you can click in and see which lessons align with which standards. I'm going to go back home. How to use is just going to be some information on how to implement the program, kind of what we're going through in this video a little bit today. We also have other videos out on that too, but if you want to access some information, you can head on in there. And then your tab is going to have your name, here it's Allison, your account information, curriculum help to, if you are looking for a specific lesson or topic, we can help you with that. Data report is going to just show you some usage. You can request a usage report. And then saved and taught lessons are going to be stored here. In order to save or mark a lesson as taught, you can just go onto the lesson. You can mark it as taught like that, or you can save it like that. And then that you will access those by going up on that top corner. And then we just have help, so if you need absolutely anything, you can click in there. There will be some informational videos, or you can always reach out to us. We are happy to help. Next, we're going to just go into searching for a lesson. So you have your general search bar there. You all know how to use one of those. Just type on in, click enter, and then we have our filters to the side here. So the most important thing about these filters is that you have to click your subject first, or else it will kind of take the rest off. So say I pick grade level all K2 and I know I want to do a science lesson and I click science, it's going to knock that K2 off. So as you can see, there's no more K2. If I would have picked science first, so I pick science, and then I click K2, it's going to keep that science and the K2 on there as well. Not sure why it does it, it's just one of those funny little things. So you always have to do your subject first, just remember that. Other than that, you can do any of these in any order, and we'll kind of go through a little brief thing of what they all mean and how you can use them to quickly find what you're looking for. So again, your subjects are just right here: STEM, science, social studies, math, ELA, some popular topics, life skills, and then some STEM and career resources. So if you say go into science, we'll use that again, and then you want to, or science, you can break it down even further into that. Same with life and physical. Then you can do it by your grade level. So if you're only looking for K-2 lessons, or say maybe only in kindergarten, you can do that. I recommend K-2. These lessons are pretty easy to adapt within the grade bands. So 3 to 5, don't focus too much on maybe 3rd to 5th, or just 3rd if you're doing 3rd. That band is going to give you a lot more options, and they are easily adjustable, like I said. Your length is next. You can choose 10 to 20 minutes, 30 to 60 minutes, or multi-day. So 10 to 20 minutes are going to be worksheets and power-ups. 30 to 60 minutes are going to be those hands-on lessons, just those typical lesson plans. And then multi-day is also going to be those typical hands-on lesson plans, but they are more experiment-based, or maybe just kind of longer activities that might need a couple class periods. And then you go into your type. So this is probably the one that is used the most. You can choose magazine, Powerups, STEM and career resources, remote friendly. If you are working remotely right now, that will kind of pull everything that can be done remotely, whether that be the Powerups, the magazines, or those full-length lessons. If you're focusing on building, maybe you're in person, you can do that. Art and design, experiments, game or simulation, homework, or worksheets. So whatever you're looking for there, you can just click those. It'll pull the specific one that you choose. And we will explore later or have another video on all of our different kinds of lessons if you need more info on that. And then last, we have our supplies. So if you are looking for something that requires materials, you can click there, or no materials. Maybe you're remote and your students have access to only a pen and piece of paper, then you can do no materials. Just want to note that our materials are just basic things that most people have at home, so recyclables, boxes, old toilet paper rolls, stuff like that students can implement in their building. So I'm just going to click into a lesson, and I'm going to do a full-length lesson. So let's do a building 30 to 60. So I know that 30 to 60 is going to be those typical lessons, as I said. Dermatologists learning about skin. And so you're going to have your buttons here. So depending on the type of lesson, it's going to have different amount of buttons. So the typical lessons that are around those 45-minute marks are going to have more. They have your lesson plan and all of that there. Power-ups and worksheets are going to have less. I just wanted to kind of show you what you're going to be looking at there. There's places to comment here. We always love comments, see how things are going, stuff like that. And I think that basically covers the website. Our Power-Ups are Google embedded lessons that are copied into your Google Drive. From there, you can work through them as a class, or you can assign them to students in Google Classroom. There's really a ton of things that you can do with these. They are 10 to 20 minutes long, and they are interactive in the sense that students are completing activities by dragging items and writing in their answers. All of our K2 Power-Ups that are being released in 2021 will include audio so that younger students can complete these activities independently. So if I'm going on the website and I'm looking for a Power-Up, the best way to do that is to go right here to type and click Power-Up. That will pull all the Power-Ups. And then let's go and explore botanists learning about photosynthesis. So I will click in, I will have my student activity, and then sometimes there's an answer key if there is an activity that requires one, so that will be found there, and it is just a PDF. So I will click student activity, and then I will click again, and this is going to copy it into my Google Drive. So make a copy. And now I have one in my own Google Drive that I can work with. So if I drag, it's not going to mess anyone else's up. So here they introduce the botanist and learning about photosynthesis. So those are our topics. Again, a little intro. And we start with vocabulary, and you can see here are going to be those audios that they can click, and it can tell them the definition, and then more here. Learning about botanists, so that background career information right there. And then all the Power-Ups are going to have a slide similar to this that says think like a, and then this will change based on the lesson. So they're thinking like botanists today. And it's just going to be a breakdown of how the activity is going to go. So first they're going to learn about photosynthesis. They are then going to decide what a plant needs, and then they are going to create a plant. So first they're learning about photosynthesis. So here they are, some information on photosynthesis, more info, and then they're into deciding what a plant needs. So they are going to be a botanist who is trying to grow a new plant, look at the pictures in the orange box, and they're going to drag the red circle to choose the 3 things that they now know you need to make sure that their plant can make food. So this information that they just learned, they know that the plant needs water, they know the plant needs sunlight, and they know that the plant needs CO2. So they will drag in order to select those. And their step 3 is they get to create a plant. So they can just kind of have fun with this. Again, more dragging and dropping. So they have to have leaves to get sunlight and carbon dioxide, so they can choose their leaves. They need to have roots, so they can choose their roots. And they need to have a stem. So just kind of a fun little thing that they can do and be as creative as they want. They want to put a flower on it, they can do that and just make their plant that way. And then this is a note from a teacher because we often include optional activities. So if you want to try to note, say you want them to do this math activity or the writing activity, you can write in there and give instructions on how you want them to do that, or you could just delete it. If you want them to do all of them, you can delete and it just kind of goes all in. So here we have an optional math activity where they're going to drag the green check mark under your answers to the questions below. So check mark under the tallest flower, just right over here, under the shortest tree, right over here, and you get the point on that. And then we have an optional writing activity, so they will learn about these 3 different plants. Again, they have that audio for them there, and then they can do some writing, and they'll just be able to click in here and write their answers. And then this one also has an optional building activity, so they'll just be building a plant, making sure to have those components that they learned about. And all of the materials for these, since they are structured for online learning, or in person, you can do kind of however you want with the materials. So if you want your students to do it with things they have at home, just paper, maybe tape, crayons, or other coloring materials, that's fine. Or you can have them use other things. Maybe they have boxes at home or recyclables that they can use and do it that way. I'm really quickly going to just show you another one if you want to see that. So this is about a paleontologist, lines of symmetry. Again, I'm just going to make that copy in. So I'll quickly go through this since you've already kind of seen the parts they're introducing. We have our vocab, symmetry, line of symmetry, symmetrical, asymmetrical, learning about paleontologists, learning about fossils, have some fossil examples here. So then now they're learning about symmetry. So this is obviously an upper grade. Just some more info on symmetry here. And so then it says, look at examples of symmetrical and asymmetrical objects below. Some examples there that are going to be helpful when they do their activity. And then we had a fun little famous paleontologist. And then here is their activity introduction. So step 1, they are going to identify the line of symmetry. Step 2, they are going to sketch their dinosaur. And step 3, they're going to write about their dinosaur. And then again, optional activities. So you have your activity, identify the line of symmetry, and then write. So this gives it some examples right here, and then they go into their activity so they can drag their lines of symmetry and then write how many lines of symmetry they have in there. And same here. And then step 2, they have just discovered a new fossil of a dinosaur on a piece of scratch paper. Use the picture below and your knowledge of symmetry to sketch what you believe this dinosaur looked like. So they would just kind of sketch their symmetrical piece there, and then write about your dinosaur, and they will write about their dinosaur in here, their name, that fun stuff. This one has an optional math practice, so doing perimeter and area, and then an optional build your dinosaur similar to the other one, same concept with materials, and then this has the answer key at the end on this one. So you have that. So that is an example of a power up. Now, if you need information on how to put these into, say, Google Classroom or integrate it with something else, we do have information on that. We do have a video that breaks down exactly how you can put these into Google Classroom so that every student will have their own copy that they can manipulate. So, talk a little bit about our worksheets. We created our worksheets in response to schools going remote. We wanted to supply teachers with quick and easy resources that require no proper supplies but also keep students engaged. Our worksheets still incorporate a career just like our regular lessons, and we have made the worksheets fillable when we have been able to. So what I mean by that is that some worksheets require sketching, so that would have to be done on scratch paper. And the fillable option allows teachers to have the flexibility that they can either print it off and use physical copies if they're in person, or they can assign them online and have students turn them in remotely if they need. If you ever come across a worksheet that is not as fillable as you would like it to be, please let us know and we will get it formatted for you ASAP. So let's dive into some worksheets. So I actually kind of searched here. I wanted to do directions. I just typed it there. So directions, and I'm going to come down and I would click worksheet. And the one I want is already right here, so I'm just going to click into that. And you will have your activity, and then if needed, an answer key. I'm going to click into the activity. I am going to download it. It is a PDF. And here is my worksheet. So as I said, fillable, they can fill their name in there. They're going to learn about architects. So some background info right there on architects and some information on cardinal directions. And then they are using cardinal directions to design a school. So follow Cassie's direction to label each room in the school. Make sure to follow Cassie's directions in order. So then they'll read through, when you enter the school through the front door, you are in the hallway. Label this room hallway. So they can come in here and do it that way. And they will just follow those directions down. So that's kind of one real easy, quick explanation of a worksheet. I'm going to go into another one here real quick. So again, student activity. I am going to download it, and this one is on calculating area and perimeter. And so learning about Olympic photographer. So they're learning about that photography there, and then they're learning about area and perimeter. We have an example on how they do that right there. And then they're going to do their own calculating of area and perimeter. So here you can see they're calculating the pool, the gymnastics floor, the tennis court. And then they're going to design a new camera. So they choose their sport. This is where kind of that sketching that I mentioned comes in. So on a piece of scratch paper, they can do that. I know some people have used Cami as well. If you have access to that, they can do some sketching. And then here's an extra time activity, just some more area and perimeter practice if you want to have them do that. So that is kind of just a general overview of the worksheets, and we do have videos on how you can upload them into Google Classroom if you need help with that, or you can always reach out and we can help you. And if you need help implementing them into any other type of system, we would love to help you with that too. So let's go into our typical lessons, full-length lessons, those lesson plans that you're kind of used to with the actual lesson plan and then student materials and all that. So if I want to find those standard 45-minute lessons, you can just go down and you can either pick 30 to 60 minutes or multi-day, and those are going to pull those. And then again, if you do want a certain subject, you pick that one first, and then you would click either 30 to 60 or multi-day. So our standard lessons all include a lesson plan for the teacher and handouts for students. The lesson plan will clearly indicate when you distribute those handouts. So the lesson plan really breaks down exactly what to do and when. Of course, you can adapt as you like, but if you're wanting it to just kind of tell you, do this, do it now, it can do that. Standard lessons will also include a video component, except for STEM lessons. So every subject matter except for STEM will include a video component. And the lesson plan and handouts are really all that is needed to complete the lesson. Everything else is just kind of extra supplemental materials that you can use to enhance the lesson. So the video students really like, and we will go through kind of those additional resources as well. So I've kind of pulled some. So we have safety and hazmat trainer, building safety mask. So as you can see, you have your buttons here, your lesson, handout, writing extension certificate, vocab cards. So this is a STEM lesson, as you can see, because there is no video. So all of them are have STEM basis in them, but these are kind of STEM focused, and they don't really have extra subject matter, such as social studies might be a STEM activity, but will also focus on the Constitution. So I'm going to actually start by looking at handouts. So here are your student handouts. Take note of the titles because that comes into play with your lesson plan. So here you have some just examples of some hazardous materials, some examples of safety masks, and then some hazardous locations, so investigating hazardous locations, and then a design page there. So those are kind of student handouts. You'll see how those come into play once I show you the lesson plan. So we will look into the lesson plan. These are PDFs, so you can download them and use however, if you want to print them or just kind of keep them on your computer and work off that, whatever works best for you. So all the lesson plans have the same breakdown. They have their adventure description here. So in this adventure, students will think like a safety and hazmat trainer and create a safety mask to be worn by personnel that work in locations with hazardous materials. This has been a super popular lesson due to recent events with COVID. So we supply the background information. The whole goal is that you, as a teacher, don't have to do any background information searching. It's all right there for you. And here highlighted are where you're going to do those handouts that I just showed you. So it says show handout, hazardous materials. So you would show that first page, whether that be handing out each student a physical copy, or a lot of teachers put it up on the whiteboard, or display it with a projector, however you want to do it. More information explained to students, blah, blah, blah. And then again, handout, now you're going to show them the safety mask and discuss the safety mask. And kind of just go through like that. So as I said, tells you when to do that and then how to go moving it forward. And they will do their activity. So at the bottom of every lesson, you have your materials list. So provided online are going to be everything we give you. So here we have all the handouts. And not provided are going to be art and building supplies. Do not get caught up on this. Teachers sometimes stress over, well, I don't have this, or I don't have that. If it's saying art and building supplies and isn't listing anything specific, like maybe if it's a experiment or something like that, there are some that are like experiment based, so you're going to have to need those specific materials. But I would say like 95% of our lessons just require like building supplies, and that can be anything that you have on hand or that students have on hand. Be creative with it and don't hyper focus on that too much. It could really be anything. And that's kind of just your lesson plan there. So then we include writing extensions, just kind of fun cross-curricular stuff to get them writing. So here they're going to write a letter. You are a safety and hazmat trainer who has created a new safety mask. And you're going to write a letter to a construction company telling them why they should wear your mask. Certificates, just kind of another fun things that students seem to like, just, pretty self-explanatory there. And then vocabulary cards. Just some vocab there. So that's pretty much how a STEM lesson is going to be set up. Like I said, it doesn't have that component of its tying into a school topic, I guess you would call it. So for example, if I go into toy designer details in writing, this is going to tell students about what toy designers do, and it's also going to focus on that subject of details in writing. So it's going to have that video. So here you have your lesson plan. Your video just looks like this. I'm not going to go into it, but it's the videos are usually 2, maybe most 3. I don't even think that long. I would say 1 to 2 minutes. And then handouts, content check are just little questions. 1 to, I mean, not 1, but 2 to 3 questions, maybe 4. We kind of recommend using them as exit slips. So you have those, and then your teacher key down there. Another writing extension. So this one is a social media campaign where they are learning about what social media campaigns are, and then they're going to write a social media campaign to encourage others to buy their toy. So they choose their channel. Are they going to use Facebook or Instagram? They're brainstorming some ideas here, and then they're writing their posts there. So we try and vary what kind of writing activities we do, another certificate example, and then vocabulary cards. And that is how the lessons are broken down. For the younger grades, they have badges as opposed to those certificates, and the badges just look like this. So you can print them out and cut them out and give them to students to take home, and they will have that. Science lessons also have magazines, so I'll show you a look at the magazines. It's kind of a little overview here. You can read through together as a class, however you want to do it. And those are also separate. If you want to do those separately and just have the magazines, you can do that as well. So with using these, if you are working remotely, as many people are at this time, you can pick those lessons. So you could do 30 to 60 minutes because that's how you find those longer lessons, and then do remote friendly. And that is going to pull some lessons that we believe are easy to do remote friendly. And if you need any help adapting that, we are here to help. Or if you have any other questions about these full-length lessons, just let us know and we will get back with you as soon as we can. All right, so let's go into some other extra components that we have that you can take advantage of. So first, we will look at some of our career magazines. So as you can see, this is a magazine on marine biologists, so we have a bunch of different careers. So you can just click in, and it is a PDF. Download it, and this is Melanie, the marine biologist. And I'm just going to kind of scroll through so you can get a little bit of an idea of what these look like. Just some information on marine biologists and what they do, and then just kind of a little fun activity. So design your own ocean trash can. Below your ocean trash can must do the following, and then it has some requirements. So it's kind of a fun little thing that students can do with that. Get some career learning in. Then we have our science magazines. So these are going to focus more on the subject. So this is talking about pushes and pulls. So again, same concept, click in, download the PDF. So you can put these into Google Classrooms if you want, or other classroom management systems, or you can print them out however you want to do it. Put them up on the smartboard if you want. Go through as a class. So this is Jennifer the zoologist and moving animals at the zoo. So they are meeting Jennifer, hello, talking about favorite animals, moving a giraffe, how are they going to do that? So talking about some polling. So they learn about that polling there again, and just, talking about pushes and pulls there. So Those are kind of this science magazines, and if you come across a science magazine that you really want or really like, they do tie into full-length lessons. So this one goes with the full-length lesson, zoologist testing pushes and pulls, so you can type that in if you want to do the full-length lesson there. Next, I'm going to show you career stories. So this is some more career learning. Talking about Alice the Architect. This is going to be for younger grade levels. These career stories, because they're kind of like coloring books, is kind of what I call them. They can't do the whole thing. There's a ton of pages, but it would take them all year. But maybe like one page or something like that. So they're learning about architects and what they do. So kind of another little magazine. Just going to scroll through quickly. Learning about some of the problems that they have to solve. And then we'll have a little bit of activities. So this says, do you have any ideas how to create more space for playgrounds in the city? Write or draw your ideas below. So just like a little interactive thing that they can do there. So those are the career stories. And then you have career profiles. Those are going to be for the older grades, so you'll click in there, and they look like this. There's kind of little informational pamphlets, so average salary, educational requirements, related classes. So this is good for the upper, like 7th, 8th grade before high school maybe, if they're, starting to explore what they might be interested in doing. And then just some fun facts. And those are the career profiles. And lastly, I'm going to talk about the STEM Winter Bundle. And I guess not this one in particular, but bundles in general for seasons or holidays, stuff like that. We try and come out with some fun bundle activities. So here you can see it's for winter, and we have a PDF version and a Google Slide version. I'm going to just click into the Google Slide version really quickly. So similar to our Powerups, this goes directly into your Google Drive, so you could share it with parents if you want, or other teachers, or however you want to do it. We made, so this STEM Winter Guide we released before break in case teachers wanted to do any of these activities before kids were off, or if they did want to send it home with parents as something to have their kids do, have them do something a little proactive over break to get them out of their hair. So as you can see, this has 4 activities. I'm going to go to build an elf trap and just kind of quickly go through that to give you an idea of what these activities look like. So these are STEM based, getting them building. So here's the teacher parent guide, just a breakdown of what's happening. The goal, so Sparkle is missing and no one can find him, and he needs to be found and returned safely. And so they're going to make a trap for him, and the needed materials we made very low key, because if they are doing it at home, we don't know what parents will have at home, or if they are doing it at school, you don't want to have a lot of materials. So they could just use paper and scissors and tape and try and build something that way, or they could get a little fancier with it if they do have access to some more materials and make it a little bit more complex. It's kind of whatever they have on hand. So then it goes through their goal. We already kind of talked about the goal, but view trap examples. So we don't want to hurt Sparkle, so those aren't going to work. Here are some examples of how we can trap him without harming him. They're going to write about what their trap is going to look like, and then they are going to build their trap, and so it needs to be 3D, work capture Sparkle without injuring him, and work correctly. And then they will test it, and then they will review their design and see how it worked for them. So that's just kind of a breakdown of 4 different activities. Like this one is a little simpler. They are going to learn about winter lanterns and the background on those, and then it's kind of just step-by-step instructions on how to make a lantern. So those are just fun things to keep an eye out for around the holidays or seasons. We try and come up with some fun stuff like that.